What's going on there, guys? We back with another one. We got to talk about Steven Jackson responding to Gilbert Arenas after Gilbert Arenas responded to something he was tagged in. Steven Jackson had brought up the argument between real hoopers and people that are exclusively scorers but don't really impact both ends of the court. And so, if you watch the whole podcast, Rashad McCants and Gilbert Arenas go back and forth about what the actual hooper is. I know some definitions people used to have as someone like a Jamal Crawford or someone who could just play freely when they got on the court and make some things happen. Because generally the term that's used for what Steven Jackson is talking about is two-way players. You hear that used a lot. So I think what's happening with this discussion is it depends on what you're talking about and the way you want to articulate it and what your definition of something is, what's your criteria to meet a said word in this instance. So Gilbert Arenas, obviously people were talking about it could have been him because Steven Jackson was saying people that were just scorers is talking too much and didn't play both ends. And Gilbert Arenas has been at the forefront. Their podcast seems like it comes on daily, so he was the guy that had to wear that, and so rightfully so, they responded on their show. Now, Gilbert did say put a name on it and said we don't know exactly who he's talking about, nor does Steven Jackson. I don't know if he was intentionally trying to disrespect anybody or not, but obviously people gonna get offended, especially when y'all in the same space, having a podcast and different things like that. But I think this got handled the way it should, where the discussion continued, and I think maybe they should do something collaborative and talk about the definition of hooper and scorer. I like when basketball people give their insights on these things. But we're going to run the tape, man. Let's peep it.
I know personally.
Googler, man.
He said if you wasn't on a team that was ranked one defensively, you ain't a hooper. His team was never ranked number one as a defensive team, so he doesn't even fit the criteria that he's saying. So I don't even know where it came from. I know I was getting tagged in it, and he said niggas are scary. There's not one nigga I ran from. I know niggas was running from me.
Why are you taking it personal?
No, I'm not. I'm not taking it personal, but I'm saying the person who's saying it. Do you fit the criteria that you're talking about?
He explained that he did.
But he doesn't.
But he does.
Show me a team that was number one defensively.
The San Antonio Spurs.
They was never number one. They were third. The best that they were third. That was the best.
Oh, no, it was Warriors.
He either got to be talking about that or Indiana. He either got to be talking about
Warriors. No, he's talking about the Warriors.
Okay.
Indiana.
Talking about the Warriors.
Warriors what year?
With BD in them?
Yeah, we believe.
We got the video.
I don't think they was number one.
Maybe.
Pal, can we run that Stak video?
All right.
It's too many scorers talking right now. They're not hoopers. There's a difference between scorers and hoopers, right? You got people that can score points, and like you give them the credit. Scoring points in the NBA is a hard job. A lot of us average 20 a year, right? I average 20 a couple of years. But scorers are not hoopers to us. Hoopers play on both ends. Hoopers compete, they play defense, they score, and they go down there to stop their man. And they win. Right? Everybody ain't hoopers. It's a lot of players that came through the NBA that can score points that didn't have long careers. It's just the truth. But everybody's not a hooper. A lot of your favorite scorers were scary, they were soft, they didn't compete on defense, they ain't try to stop nobody. And they didn't make nobody better. And they didn't win shit. And they was never on the team when their team was number one defensive team in the league. Big difference between hoopers and scorers. I respect hoopers.
Getting a lot of traction, everybody taking my videos.
Can we run that Stak video?
You have to put names on it.
Gotta put names.
Because
I'm gonna break it down for y'all one time. This is not to demean anybody on the list. I respect everybody. Everybody was professionals. Everybody has solid careers. And a lot of these guys have way better careers than me. But I know the difference between a hooper and a scorer. Ron Artest, he's a hooper. He's expected to get 20-plus points, and he's expected to lock his man up. Allen Houston, scorer. He wasn't expected to play defense every night, but he was expected to get that jumper because he was one of the best shooters in the game. Anthony Edwards, we seen what he do. Both ends. Go out there, score 20, 30, and go out there and guard the best player. We seen him do it all season last year. Hooper. James Harden. I was kind of worried about this because James does make his team better because he's averaged triple-double for a couple years, but at the same time, he's not expected to guard nobody. His job is strictly on offense. If he guards somebody, it's a plus. So I got James a scorer. I don't have him a hooper. Tim Duncan. Every night, he's expected to score and defend. He's expected to lock his man up and defend. Hooper, Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert, my boy, ain't no hate to nobody on his list, bro, but Gilbert every night is expected to score. He was one of the best scorers in the league when he was playing, and he's expected to score every night. They're not expecting him to lock nobody up. And half the time he wasn't giving that effort because he was using it all on offense. Facts. Kevin Garnett, every night. Both ends. Gave you energy on both ends of the court. Hooper. Ray Allen. Ray Allen was a scorer. When he came into the league, he was very athletic. And I don't know why people think I'm hating. I'm just giving my opinion. I love Ray Allen. He was one of the best players, one of the best shooters to ever play the game. But he was not expected to stop nobody. And he really didn't give that effort. Yeah, he played hard on offense, and he was one of the best shooters. But nobody was expecting him to stop nobody. Dwight Howard, one of the best big men ever. Definitely top 7 big men of all time. He did it every night. Rebounds, blocks, and scored 30. He did it every night. Kevin Martin, great scorer. Could score and get to the free throw line. But you can cross him over in the phone booth. He wasn't even trying to guard nobody. That's the difference between hoopers and scorers. I respect everybody on the list. No disrespect meant. It's just how I feel in my opinion. Peace.
So, Steven Jackson, one of the people I may disagree with a little bit is Dwight Howard. Would you say he's a straight up hooper? And the reason I say that is, you could say that. I'm just saying, offensively, he was a bit challenged even in Orlando. He could put up big nights, but we saw how he could look offensively like he did in the finals. And I think what I'm saying is basically his game was more predicated on defense, rebounding. He really dominated that end. So I guess you could say even on the offensive board, he did do something dominant on that end too. So I guess you could give him that. But, hoopers, I'm thinking MJ, I'm thinking Kobe, I'm thinking Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm thinking that if we going by Steven Jackson's definition, right, I'm thinking about those type of players. And my thing would be, where do you draw the line at with hoopers and scorers? You have some that give effort on the defensive end, and they're good team defenders, but they have limitations where they may not be a lockdown defender, and it could be their measurables, athleticism, different things. I still think you can be a hooper if you're not a lockdown defender on both ends. I think you just have to be attentive on that end, and you can't be a liability on that end. And what I'm talking about is gambling, not staying honest, different things like that. Now, Gilbert said that Steven Jackson doesn't even meet his own criteria that he had, but Steven Jackson, in his response, you could see like what he put on his post. He said they was number 1 in Charlotte. And the 2002 Spurs was second. 2003, they were 3rd on defense, respectfully. So he was on teams like that, so I'm not, I think this is good debate. I think this is just good, solid debate, man. I like conversations like this and people with different viewpoints. Again, I think they should do something collaborative, man, and talk about this, or somebody should go on. Well, Gil's already been on their podcast, Stak, and Matt should go over there to that podcast and do it, in my opinion, and really discuss this thing, talk it out completely. Rashad McCants, he kind of had a different definition prior to hearing Steven Jackson's definition, but once he heard Steven Jackson's definition, he kind of adopted that by the end of that conversation. Because I watched it in its totality last night, that portion of the show, and Gilbert, I've seen him give some effort on defense, but obviously Gilbert was a scorer. He was a lethal scorer. Very quick, first step, athletic, could do it all, So, yeah, man. I would even say Ray Allen is a hooper. I don't know if you can just define it right down the line. You know a hooper when you see one. And I don't think Ray Allen was no liability on defense. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think people that wasn't a liability, I I don't think people that that was just exploiting them. If you can just exploit them from tip to the end of the game, then I think they could still qualify as a hooper, especially if they score like Ray Allen did. Now I think James Harden score, yes, because Harden gets in his own way. I remember when Harden was in OKC, he played a lot better defense. I remember at times during that Lakers series, they put him on Kobe when he was coming off the bench. And he hadn't started that arm rip through thing to manufacture points that I don't really give him credit for at times because when they took those rules away, you saw he struggled in certain playoff series, So, uh, but yeah, I like the conversation. I want to know what you guys think about it in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time.